Hello everyone, welcome back. It's another Thursday afternoon. How quickly 4 p.m. Eastern Time arrives, but we're here again, another episode of Heads or Tails with my buddy Ben Orooji. Again, I am James McCartney, Senior Numismatist here at Stack's Bowers Galleries, and we're going to be welcoming on Ben Orooji, my colleague in my California office. We're going to have a good discussion on building a collection on a budget of just $10,000. I shouldn't say just $10,000. $10,000 is a significant amount of money, but you can get some very, very good value from a budget at that point. So Ben and I are going to discuss that. Let me bring him on. Ben on the channel. Again, my name is James McCartney, Senior Numismatist here at Stack's Bowers, and looks like Ben is joining us. Something's happening.
James, I see you.
There we go. This I have some deja vu. I feel like this happened last time. Let's try this again. All right, we're gonna kick you off, and we're gonna try to add you again. For everyone at home, we are a numismatic auction company, not a technology company. So excuse us for a moment while we figure this out. Let's see. I see Ben is trying to get on the channel. Let's see.
I see you again.
All right. So we don't see Ben yet. While that's loading, again, thank you guys for watching, for tuning in. This is Heads or Tails, hosted by Stack's Bowers, where my colleague Ben and I go back and forth on two different collecting perspectives. Every week we discuss something different. This week we're discussing the best way to build a collection with a budget of $10,000. So we're trying to get Ben Orooji here on the broadcast. Let's try one more time. Here we go. Let's see if we can finally get him. Otherwise, this might be a one-man show. Ben, Ben, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know if our audience can, but I can certainly hear you.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Maybe somebody in our audience will give us a thumbs up whether they can hear me or not.
All right. You guys in the audience, can anybody hear Ben Orooji? No. Okay. No. Nobody knows. Nobody can hear you. So let's see. Let's try it. Let's try it one more time. There we go. All right. Let's try one more time. Okay, we hear him. All right. So Ben, even if we can't see your face, maybe we'll still. Here we go. Maybe we'll still be able to have the discussion. All right. Ben, can you hear us?
I can hear you, and
all right.
Comments say people can hear me, but they just
sure. All right.
For some reason.
So then, let's move forward. Then hopefully the video stream will come in at some point in the broadcast. So Ben, I was telling everyone that today we want to discuss the best approach for building a collection on a budget of $10,000. Now, what are your thoughts on those conditions?
Yeah, there's a few different ways you could go about that. I mean, everybody has different collecting perspectives, of course, and you could go in one fell swoop and buy something that's $10,000, and now you're done with your collection.
Sure, sure.
And equally, you could buy 1,000 $10 coins. But I would say that neither of those things would be something that we would probably recommend. So, I mean, although you could do it, of course. I think that there's like a couple different avenues that I had thought of when we talked about this topic, and I hope there are the same for you.
Certainly.
But to me, like, if you're telling me, like, I have a budget of $10,000, I want to put together something special, I want to put together something nice, I'm thinking that you're going to want to limit the number of pieces probably to around 10 or less.
Sure. I mean, I think that philosophy is important to stress really across any type of collection, any type of budget. It's managing that quantity versus quality aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is there are a lot of areas in U.S. numismatics where, frankly, $10,000 won't go very far.
No, certainly.
But there are other areas, even in U.S. numismatics, where there are tons of collectors, and there's all this information, and you can get some really solid value for $1,000. Things that are genuinely scarce to rare.
Sure.
And that's kind of where I would see myself, saying, here's my set budget, and now I want to go find this. The other thing too is that, us collectors, we like to go to, shows or auctions or whatnot, and we like the hunt.
Right.
I don't want to be able to go to the first dealer's table and spend $10,000 there, or go to the first auction and spend $10,000 there, because it's, not as much fun. You want to be able to have a bit of a challenge in your collection. So, there's that as well. And with that in mind, that's kind of what I was thinking about when I came up with, the different areas that I was going to suggest today. Do you have anything else outside of that?
I think there's a few criteria to keep in mind when you're building really any collection. I think at a very rigid budget level, I think you want to make sure that you are, first off, it's my opinion that you should be buying certified coins at this level. If we're, I agree with you, sticking at around $1,000 value for each coin. I think at that level, you're going to want to invest in a certified coin. Certified coins also ensure the liquidity of a coin you're buying. It's the grade and other features have been readily identified. So I think that's smart. If you're looking to put together a collection with very rigid characteristics and constraints, certified coins are the way to go. I think beyond that, collecting by a theme, really, we see the best collections or the most impressive collections held together by some type of cohesive theme. Whether that's something like design type, engraver, denomination, grade. I think all of those are important. But beyond that, there are many different ways to approach this. And so Ben, what would be one of your top sets you're going to build for a budget of $10,000?
All right. Now, by the way, after this broadcast, you're going to give me $10,000 so I can build this collection, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So actually, when I was thinking about this, I wanted to go back to one of my early loves, which is Lincoln cents. And a lot of people, they know Lincoln cents. They got started by putting the Lincoln cents in their boards, and so I think it's a very popular area. But one of the areas that people are kind of underappreciate are the matte-proof Lincoln cents, and they only made them.
I agree.
From 1909 to 1916. A complete set is 9 coins. Although for this purposes, we're going to complete it by date, and we're only going to include 8 coins because the 1909 VDB proof is particularly expensive.
Yes, well, I think that's a reason why some people don't even consider the matte proofs, or they're unaware of the matte proofs, because people think that they are prohibitively expensive, and that's not the case, is it, Ben?
No, not at all. You can get, nice 64s to 65s, red, brown, or brown proofs in every date for, around $1,000 each. And nice coins, we're not talking about ugly coins here. And when you consider that these mintages are sometimes insane.
Oh, let's see, Ben, we might have just lost you. Let's see. We lost your volume. We're going to try to get you back. We're going to try to. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Seems our Instagram feed may have come down with the coronavirus. We'll see what happens. We're waiting for Ben to log back on. But yeah, we were discussing a few different ways to build a collection for $10,000. Ben was just suggesting matte-proof Lincoln cents, which really is an underrated series, if you're going to ask me. Again, people think they're prohibitively expensive, but they're not. These are things with legitimate rarity, very, very low mintages. Okay, let's see here. Try to get Ben on one more time. Okay. And we're trying. We're trying again.
I'm here. I still don't see my video, but I see you.
Me neither. All right. Well, then, all right, Ben, continue on about the map-proof Lincoln cents. What grades would you recommend collecting these in?
I'm not sure where you lost me, but so you can get these things in, mint state 64 or proof 64, excuse me, to 65 in brown or red round holders for $1,000, around $1,000, which is an insane value when you can see that the mintage for these things is 4,200 pieces or less for every single one of these. For like the 1916 issue, there's a mintage of 600 pieces.
Right.
And of course, not all of those survive today. And when you're talking about, something with a mintage of 600 pieces, and you're buying a nice example of that mintage for $1,000, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's something that's legitimately rare, and I think in today's collector mindset, when we're looking at population figures, certified populations, we don't realize that with a lot of these issues, millions and millions and millions of coins have been struck. I mean, like you said, to have a mintage of under 1,000 coins, it may sound like a lot, but compared to the circulation strike mintage of the same year, it's just barely a fraction. A lot of these Lincoln cents, the circulation strikes were struck many millions, sometimes billions of coins. So the map-proof Lincoln cents definitely offer a great, true rarity when compared with a lot of other issues.
Yeah, they're cool coins. They weren't very popular at the time of their issue. People couldn't get behind the map-proof nature, because they're not as brilliant and flashy.
Sure. Now we see a similar thing when it comes to some of the early matte or sandblast or satin finish gold coins from the early 20th century. These were not popular with collectors. Collectors thought that they looked way too much like the normal circulation strike coins. So as you mentioned, not many of those map proofs survived.
Yeah, for sure. But as you take a quick look at it, and then you can definitely see, the rims are very squared. The detail on these coins is amazing. And you get some really nice toning. We were talking about toning last week. You get some really nice toning on some of these examples. And they're just fun. And the great thing about it is they're hard to find. They
are.
We don't see them that often in the auctions. You won't find them at every dealer's table. You will have to hunt to find these coins. But when you do find one, it's not going to be that expensive. So it's great.
We even know of instances of coins certified as circulation strikes that have subsequently been determined to be matte proofs. So there are a lot of opportunities to find value in the series. I think, Ben, that's a great suggestion for building a set at $10,000.
Now, if you wanted the 1909 VDB in an acceptable range of 63 to 65, that's going to set you back another 15 or 20,000. So you might have to skip that if we're talking about the 10,000 budget. But
yeah, no, I think building just a date set makes a lot of sense for this series.
Sure. So give me a series that you were thinking about.
Sure. I mean, again, I think it's important to collect by a theme to make it cohesive, but not necessarily within the same series. I think you can put together a pretty complete set of half dollars, of U.S. half dollars, really an example of every type ever struck, from flowing hair up to the present Kennedy. You can put together a pretty nice set for $10,000. Now, obviously, the flowing hair coins, some of the early draped bust coins, those are going to be low grade. You're probably going to find those in maybe fine 12 or fine 15 at the most. And even then, they're going to be a few $1,000s each. But then you're obviously not going to be able to have the drape bust small eagle. That's going to be an exception, just like with your 1909 VDB matte proof. But if you skip over the drape bust small eagle, you can get a very, very complete set. The early coins will be in fine to VF, and then really once you hit even the normal capped bust heraldic eagle series, you can find a great mint state coin for $500, if not a bit more. So I think if you want to collect an entire series, an entire denomination, half dollars are a great place to start. I think they offer a good cross section of the minting techniques and the engraver styles, really from the beginning of our mint in 1892 until present day. So I think, that's a really, really great way to spend $10,000. You get a lot of bang for your buck and a journey through history, which I think is important.
Yeah, I like half dollars a lot, as you know.
Yes, you do.
Half dollars, what a lot of people don't realize is those were the workhorse, coin for many, many years.
Sure.
Whereas the dollar coins really not so much, and gold really not so much. Those things didn't circulate. A lot of times they found their ways overseas, or
sure.
people supported them because they were worth more for their bullion value than their face value. Whereas half dollars, that was the coin of commerce. So I know you really like to buy coins that that you feel circulated and they have a story.
Sure.
And that's the half dollar denomination. I really love it. Now it's not as big as the Morgan silver dollar or the peace dollar, but they're really cool, and especially with the early halves, they come with a lot of very readily identifiable die characteristics. So you can do the die variety work. There are overdates in the series that you can pursue.
Sure. I mean, it shows you how much. How crude or rudimentary our early minting techniques were. A lot of these were being made, struck, engraved by hand, and I think some of those, right? We identify them as different die varieties and types, but really they are, they are mistakes, they are blunders, imperfections even made by the early mint employees, but we find them very, very charming.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my specialty is, right at the end of that window. With the Cat Bust Reeded Edge series, half dollars, where they have now entered, the modern age of minting techniques, so to speak. So, back at this time, with the regular Cat Bust series, everything is as you described, and things are not nearly as uniform.
Sure. That transition to that series and that transition to the more uniform production quality, wasn't that really a relic of the introduction of steam press, right? Steam coinage.
Yep, steam coinage, and they changed the way that the edge of the coin was applied. So before
sure.
the regular series, that was applied. It had a lettered edge. It was applied individually. Whereas with the steam press, now you're striking coins within a collar. It's applying a reeded edge instead. So that change happened in 1836. So you have the lettered edge variety of the Cat Bust half dollar, and then you have the reeded edge version. The reeded edge version is much rarer and more desirable as such. The Whitman, the Red Book lists the oft repeated mintage of 1,200 pieces.
Sure, for the 1836.
Yeah, but that's going off an old estimate that just keeps getting repeated over and over and over again. Whereas modern researchers are more in line with a mintage around 5,000 pieces, which is still pretty small.
Sure. I mean, early U.S. collectors, they consider the 1836 even a pattern, right? It's only been relatively recent that we decided that this was a circulation strike coin.
Actually meant for circulation strike. Yeah, absolutely. Roughly about 1,000 of those survive today in any grade today. And what's really cool is you can get an example of this even up to like AU 58, a choice AU example, for around $5,000.
Okay, so well, that's still a big portion of your $10,000 budget. So all right, Ben. So what does a $10,000 collection of Reeded Edge half dollars look like?
I would approach it in two different ways.
Okay.
So I would approach it either. Do I want 2 coins or do I want 3 coins?
Sure. I guess. Well, let's see. So what issues comprise the Reeded Edge half dollar series to begin with?
Sure. So you have the 1836, 1837, you have the 1838, you have the 1838 New Orleans issue, which that's
sure. Can't forget about that.
Real rarity. You're not going to get anywhere close to it with our budget. Yeah. And then you have the 1839 New Orleans issue. And both of those New Orleans issues are really prized because they have the O mint mark above the date on the obverse.
Right.
And collectors have long been after those issues for that reason. It's just really cool. It's the same reason why people like the the gold denominations because they put that that O mint on there. But
Sure.
so if I was going to do it with two, I would say I would really like to see a Choice AU 1836, and then
Okay.
I would do a Choice AU 1839 O. And you can
Sure.
still you can get the 1839 O about up to AU 55. You might have to stretch a bit more if you want it in 58 for $5,000. And between those two coins, you would really capture the essence of the reeded edge denomination.
Sure.
You would have a reeded edge issue. You'd have the first one of the series, and then you would have the 39O with the New Orleans Mint. You got the whole yellow fever epidemic story to talk about. It's just fun. Between those two coins, that would be really cool. And they're both rare.
Sure, they are both very rare, and I think it's important to mention as kind of you've illuminated for me personally is that these coins are very difficult to find with good surface quality, right? I mean, a lot of these are damaged or very heavily worn or cleaned. I mean, finding one with good surface quality is very, very challenging, and that adds to the challenge of assembling such a set.
Oh yeah, that was a prerequisite. Remember, I don't want to choose a thing to collect that's going to be too easy to find. We want to hunt for it. We want to look at a ton of coins, and we want to reject 90% of them before we say, that one, that's the one I want.
Sure.
That's the fun. But the other way you could pursue it, if you were in love with the reeded edge halves like I am, you could try doing it from the date perspective of getting 137, 138, and 139. And all of these have surviving populations of under 10,000 coins.
Sure.
And if you were to say choose examples that were nice choice mint state 63s, really original specimens, you could get those for $3,000 or under across the board. And when you think about the number of mint state reeded edge half dollars that are estimated to exist for the 37, you've got about 600 that are estimated to exist in any mint state grade.
Sure.
For the 38, you reduce that to 400 examples. For the 39, you reduce that to 200 examples. So, I mean, you're buying something that there are 200 known in all mint state grades, and you're getting it for $3,000. I mean, if this were a car or a watch or something like that,
Sure,
you'd never be able to get it for anything like that.
And I think it's also important to point out that the Reattach half dollar series is very attractive because it's so completable. It's so short. It's not something like really most other series. You're only looking at 4 or 5 issues across the whole series. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to play with different grades, different value levels. I mean, right? You can assemble a essentially complete set without the 38O for really not much at all, right? I mean, what is the minimum we need for a full set of Reattach half dollars without the 38O? Can it be done for $5,000?
Oh my gosh, you could totally build this for under $5,000 if you're willing to accept lower grades.
Sure.
You can get the 39O and a good 4 for under $500. Same for the 36. I mean, now getting those with nice surfaces is going to be tough, but
right.
It can be done. And it's one of the things that it's important to think about when you're about to start a collection. There's something to be said for filling out every date in a Whitman folder. And you can do that with certain series for not too much money. You can do that with Franklin half dollars, with Washington quarters. Right.
Sure. Yeah, just collecting from circulation, from pocket change, even.
Well, not with Franklin halves, but.
Oh well, not Franklin halves, but for the most of the other 20th century series.
Sure. But when a lot of people will start with like Morgan dollars, and then they get a number of examples, and then they get discouraged because they start to get really expensive.
Of course, yeah, you get all the Carson City issues, the 95s, the 92s. I mean, yeah, once you get past some of the early issues and some of the estimates, I mean, everything else becomes quite a challenge, and it can get very expensive.
Yeah, it can be. There's just so many issues that you have to think about, and what you end up doing is you make concessions based on grade and surfaces, and I hate to do that. It really
Sure.
irritates me to make those concessions. I want to be
Yeah.
able to look at my set and say this is cohesive. They're all well matched, and so that's something that I encourage in collectors who are starting. Choose something that you will be able to get a well-matched set. Look at the key dates in whatever series it is and say, am I ever going to be able to afford this?
No, I think it's important to be realistic from the start and really know what you're getting yourself into, but that still doesn't mean that you can't have a lot of fun on a relatively modest budget.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there are other series in the United States that issues, but you collect like ancient coins and other things. Like, give me an example of something that you can pursue that isn't so complete, like these Reattach halves.
Sure. Well, when it comes to ancient coinage, I mean, I think really it's a rabbit hole that can it depends on how deep and how specific you want to go. But if you want to put together a collection of all the different denominations struck under Alexander the Great, whether you want to focus on silver denominations, bronze denominations, or a mix of both, even gold coins, you can put together a very, very complete denomination set of Alexander coinage, certainly for $10,000. I mean, and that's including the gold stater or dice stater. So ancient coins is there's a lot of flexibility in how you approach it. Maybe you want to put together a set of Athenian owls struck in all these different striking periods, or you want to put together a set of silver coins from every major city in Sicily. I think all of those are options, and really it's about focusing on quality. A lot of these coins, as is the case with U.S. coins, you can get a low-end example for just a few $100s. Some low-end tetradrams with signs of cleaning, damage, or just heavy wear, that they might run you as little as $200, $300. But it's about being patient and waiting for that quality. It's much better, in my opinion, and as we see in our auctions, to assemble a set of 10 $1,000 coins than 100 coins valued at $100 each. These are things that are both going to bring you more satisfaction and then also tend to hold their value more. There's definitely a focus on quality over quantity that we want to stress, that I know I see in our auctions all the time. And Ben, I think you take that approach to your collecting as well.
I would say, for most of the things, yes. But then, I'm also talking on my Antique Toy Money channel.
It's true.
There's a lot of quantity involved there.
We all have our vices. We all have our guilty pleasures. So I can't blame you for that.
Absolutely. The thing to remember is, if you're going to go for quantity, try not to make it something that is terribly expensive. So what I mean by terribly expensive is, if you're spending $200, per coin, to me, that means that you have the budget to be spending $1,000. Just be a little bit more patient.
I agree 100%. That's important.
If your collecting budget is $2 per coin, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to expect that person to wait till they get $1,000 to buy a coin. That's too much of a reach. So it's fine if you're wanting those $10 coins and building a collection of that, at that level. It's just be mindful that if I'm paying $200 for something and I'm doing it repeatedly, I really could be buying something more significant, and not amassing the quantity.
Sure, I agree. And it results in a collection that's easier to manage, that's more gratifying to look at, and then also one that tends to hold its value better. So, Ben, we are out of time for today. Are there any closing thoughts you want to give about our $10,000 collection?
Gosh, I can't think of that anything too much right now. Just most collectors are not going to have the $10,000 in their pockets right now to spend. So I wouldn't focus too much on I'm never going to have that amount of money. I would say to like anything else in your life, budget that out. And if you're saving, even $100 a month or $50 a month, you can buy nice things, at smaller or at larger intervals, and go about that. Don't get too scared about the figure of $10,000. That's the only thing I'd really say.
Yeah, no, Ben, I'm definitely going to agree with you there. I mean, again, it's, even if that means buying one coin every year or every 2 years, I mean, $10,000 is certainly a lot of money. That's, I definitely wouldn't suggest that that's anything but a huge amount of money. And, we could apply these same principles just as easily to $1,000 budget, right?
Sure. And, one of our colleagues, actually, he hadn't bought a coin for, I want to say, like 4 or 5 years. And recently he attended a coin show and he bought, 2 or 3. He focuses on O-mint seeded halves. And
sure.
He's just focused on nice circulated example. He's not trying to get a complete set. He just wants nice original O-mint seeded halves. And it's okay that he waited 3 or 4 years before getting another example in his collection. He's just waiting for the right time, building up his budget to do so. And he's doing it the right way.
I agree. Sometimes, the hunt and waiting is the hardest part, but also the most enjoyable and usually the most rewarding. All right, Ben. So let's sign off until next week. Hopefully next week we will have some video for you. But anything else you want to leave our audience with?
I think that's it. Everybody knows where to contact us. Our information is all over the web, and they should do so anytime they have questions or they just want to chat. I've had some really nice chats with some of our viewers after these shows. So please continue to do so.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone at home, thank you very much for watching. Reach out to Ben. You can find him at Antique Toy Money is his Instagram. Reach out to me or DM us here on social media on the Stacks Bowers account. But we appreciate your viewership, your engagement, and we will see you guys next week, same time. Hopefully you'll have Ben's face to look at next week. But thank you for watching. Ben, thank you for taking the time to chat. And let's get back to our June Baltimore auction, which we're putting together for you guys out there. So if you're looking to buy some coins from our June sale, give us a call. We'll send you a catalog.
Excellent.
All right. Take care.
Bye.